Good morning, everybody. It is such a beautiful morning. The goats have had their breakfast, the rabbits have been moved, and those are my animal chores in the morning. On our homestead, Kevin and I kind of divide the labor responsibilities for the animals between the two of us. He takes care of all of the poultry, all the birds, and the pigs, and I take care of the goats and the rabbits. It works well for us, and it's not overwhelming for either one of us, and we both really enjoy it. Kevin is hard at work this morning stacking wood in preparation for another load of firewood being delivered today. So I'm gonna take a little bit of time this morning before I get busy doing other projects, and I'm gonna take a walk in the pasture, down some of our trails, into the woods, into the front yard, and see what kinds of mushrooms I can find this morning. One of my absolute favorite things to forage for are mushrooms. I don't even really like mushrooms. I will use them to make mushroom broth and cream of mushroom soup, but our family isn't big mushroom eaters, but I am absolutely fascinated with mushrooms. And we have a ton of them growing around here. So let's just take a leisurely walk in the woods and in the pasture and see what we can find. Just have a relaxing time with me this morning. This is a puffball mushroom, and I'm gonna pick it. I'm gonna put it in my basket. I see another one. Put that in my basket too. Let's head into the woods and see what we can find. I brought along with me actually this book. It's called the Missouri's Wild Mushrooms. It's actually created and put out by the Missouri Department of Conservation, and it is a really great resource. I don't know if every state has something like this, but the one in Missouri has beautiful pictures, great descriptions, and this is kind of my go-to guide, not only to learn about identifying wild mushrooms, but also to make sure that what I might be eating, which really isn't very many things, is safe. Let's go see what we can find. here is almost like a mushroom haven. Everywhere I look, there are more and more mushrooms. When I see a grouping of the same types of mushrooms, I know that there is a really healthy, well-developed mycelium right there. Now, to back up a little bit and talk about how mushrooms grow. Mushrooms don't have seeds, they have spores, which come out of the gills underneath the cap of a mushroom. And as they blow in the wind, or as animals carry them along, or as we have them in our baskets and are walking through the woods, those spores fall down and go into the ground. When they germinate, they make kind of a structure, like a web-like structure. They send out kind of fingers or roots that are so tiny you can't even see them, called filaments. And when all those filaments run together and grow together from all the different spores around, they create a large web-like structure called mycelium. And the mycelium is what makes mushrooms grow. So when the environment is absolutely perfect, the time of year, the temperature, the humidity, the amount of rain, when all of that is perfect, then the mycelium produce the mushrooms. Now, one thing to consider and one thing to note is that if you have found mushrooms and that you like, either you like to gather them and eat them or just look at them, keep in mind where you found them, because if there is a healthy mycelium in that area, they will tend to continue growing there. Not necessarily every year, but every time the conditions are perfect. There's this very interesting mushroom right here that looks nothing like these guys. So I am gonna take a little bit closer of a look. Wow! Look at how beautiful that is! Oh my gosh! That's like a radiant red color. Wow. Look at how beautiful that is. It's starting to rain. Look at that color. It's not even doing justice on camera. It's much more bright orangish red than it's showing on the camera. That is beautiful. I'm gonna put that in my basket so I can try to look at it closer. I want to show you a little bit more about this book that I've been using, Missouri's Wild Mushrooms, by the Missouri Department of Conservation. It is absolutely beautiful. It has gorgeous pictures in it, identifying the different groupings of mushrooms, the types, and what all to look for in order to identify them correctly. And then in the back, there are recipes that you can refer to when you actually find some of the edible mushrooms. This is a fantastic resource. I will put a link in the description below where you can find this. And if you are not in Missouri, maybe contact the Conservation Department from your state and see if they have something similar. Look how beautiful that is underneath. Those gills are gorgeous. Look at that. It's much more pure white on the camera than in real life. In real life, it's kind of an ivory color, but look at how gorgeous and perfect that is. Wow. And the top is really kind of plain and unassuming. Well, it's raining a little bit harder than I am comfortable with having the camera out here, so right now is a perfect time for me to go inside and teach you how to make a mushroom spore print. Just as I came back up to the house, the rain stopped. So I wanted to quickly show you some of the mushrooms that I've been watching in the yard. One is like really spectacular. Look at this mushroom. Oh my gosh. All right, here's my hand right next to it. And let me show you how big it is on the top. Look at that. I mean, I know I have small hands, but that is a huge mushroom. Wow. Well, I think it's officially time to go make some mushroom spore prints. They are so pretty and they're so easy. It seems like you're painting, but you're not really. So let's go inside and make some mushroom spore prints. So a spore print is just the mark that a mushroom cap makes when you set it on a piece of paper and let it sit there for a while. When you put it upside down on a piece of paper and leave it there, the spores inside start to drop down and they make a special mark on the paper. Now, it's fun and it's neat and it's pretty, but really the real reason to do it is to help identify what kind of mushroom you have. Spores have different colors and you use that information to help determine what kind of mushroom you have. Now, some spores are green, brown, black, white. So really, if you're wanting to identify a mushroom, you should really have a piece of paper that is half white and half black, and you'll center it between the two papers so you can see the color differences. Because if you have a mushroom that has white spores and you put it on a white piece of paper, obviously you're not going to see it. But today I'm just doing it because I think it's fun. I think the marks are pretty. I did my very first spore print the other day and I got some really awesome impressions. One thing you need to keep in mind about this is that the spores they're a powder. So if you blow on it or if you smudge it, it's just gonna come right off the paper. Now, if you're interested in making this a little bit more permanent, you can use a spray fixative, like an artist fixative, or from what I understand, you can use a hairspray to lightly spray over it, and then it's less likely that it's gonna smudge or smear. But I'm excited to lay a lot of these down on these papers and leave them here for a couple hours to see what they're gonna look like. When you make a spore print, you need to remove the stem of the mushroom carefully so that it doesn't crack the mushroom top in half. This has some debris that I'll remove. And you just put it upside down onto the piece of paper and leave it there for a couple hours. You can even leave it there overnight. Well guys, thanks so much for coming out with me today to look for mushrooms and to do my morning chores. I hope you learned something. I don't get to forage as much now as I would love to, maybe in the fall a little bit more, but I really do enjoy it. It just gives me some time out in nature by myself, some time to think and reflect and to be so thankful for all of the blessings that we've been given. This is just a wonderful place to live, a wonderful life to live. We're just so happy and we're so grateful. Hey, if this is the first time that you are visiting our homestead, right now is a perfect time to hit the subscribe button below. We would love to have you join on our adventure. For all you traditionalists that come back 5 days a week and watch all of our videos, thank you so much. We appreciate you so much. Don't forget to share this video on all of your social media. And until next time, thanks so much for stopping by the homestead. Take care and God bless.